Dubuque is Iowa's oldest city and is one of the oldest settlements west of the Mississippi River. Julien Dubuque, a French Canadian fur trader, is considered the first permanent settler in 1785, and he worked with the Meskwaki Indians to mine lead from the bluffs of Dubuque. The city was named for Julien Dubuque, and in 1837, Dubuque was chartered. In Dubuque's original downtown area, many mysteries were identified that had no logical reason for the occurrences, or as we know them, ghost stories and hauntings. There are stories of shipwrecks and pirates on the Mississippi River, abandoned mansions with myths or stories of apparitions, missing gold on the bluffs, and haunted cemeteries, theaters, colleges, parks, and more.
The fourth floor here at the theater. Only blacks and the Irish. They had to sit up there. They weren't allowed anywhere else in the theater. They had their own entrance. They had their own concession stand. They had their own box office. Everything. No, they were not allowed. And if you go up there today, it's still exactly how it was in 1910 when the building opened up with the wooden bench seats.
Wow.
They didn't get the fine upholstered chairs. They didn't get the really nice chandeliers. They got bench seats and they looked down on the stage. We have two ghosts.
Okay.
One shortly after this building was built, that we know of. He was a stagehand and worked construction, but he was also acting as a stagehand. So at about 1912, 1913, right after the building was opened up, was electrocuted backstage by the electrical bus bar. And you can hear, if you're in here by yourself at night, you can hear him walk across the stage. You can hear, doors creaking, shutting. I mean, and there's no air movement in here. It's just odd things that would happen in the theater. And that's why, we have, of course, every theater has a ghost light that stays on 24 hours a day. If the house lights are off, we put a light on the stage so that this ghost, the stagehand, can find his way around so he's not stumbling across the stage.
And now we come to the Hotel Julien, which was historically restored in 2007. It now operates at full capacity on weekends for weddings and larger events. This luxury hotel was built in 1915. It is made of steel and concrete with red bricks on floors 3 through 8. Its most infamous guest was the mobster Al Capone and his crew. He loved to stay here to relax and refresh himself from his vicious occupation. The Hotel Julien has remembered this famous guest by giving him a suite named for him. It's located on the 2nd floor instead of the 8th. He was part of a group of investors who rebuilt the hotel, and he was a silent partner. And he would come into town and stay on the 8th floor with his entourage because the floor overlooked the bridge of the Mississippi River so he could watch out for his rivals. Rumor has it that some of his henchmen violated and killed a housekeeper on the 8th floor, and manifestations of her are often seen clearing the hotel. Since the $30 million renovation and restoration in 2007, manifestations have included the freight elevator going off on its own with no identified mechanical problems, a female apparition floating past offices about 5 feet off the floor near a staircase, and a male entity that resembles Al Capone dressed in Eric clothing is often seen on the upper floors by many guests. Some say this is where Al Capone likes to spend his afterlife. The Old Dubuque Jail is a stone brick jail building with Egyptian revivalist architecture built in 1857. It was used for holding cells for those awaiting trial, neighborhood rowdies, and petty criminals. There was a dungeon in the basement for guests that were too hard to handle, and it was closed around 1958 when a new jail was built across the street. Patrick O'Connor was convicted of murder in 1834 and was the first person to face the death penalty in Iowa Territory, and he was hung about 20 yards from the jail site and is thought to be the entity that haunts the land because he did not expect swift justice and his life was taken before accomplishing his goals in life. The Grand Opera House Theater has been serving the area for over 125 years. It held its first opening night on 14 August 1890, where patrons saw the Hess Opera Company perform Bizet's Carmen. Investigators have witnessed strange lights, orbs, the sound of a piano playing, voices, and even an apparition on stage. Objects left in one place have reappeared in another. The Redstone Inn is a unique architecture built in 1894. It was a 27-room mansion built by A.A. Cooper as a wedding present for his daughter Elizabeth and her husband. The property is believed to have manifestations from the spirit of a well-dressed, good-natured older gentleman thought to be Augustine A. Cooper. Other known manifestations are believed to be Cooper relatives that speak to visitors with disembodied voices, shuffling footsteps in the hallways and bathroom, footfalls on stairs, and playful knocks on doors. The thinking is that these visitors are all Coopers who were happy to be part of the renovated mansion. The Matthias Ham House is the best-known paranormal site. Shipping tycoon Matthias Ham built the 150-year-old Ham House. In 1890, Sarah Ham was the last remaining family member living in the house alone. She was in an upstairs bedroom when an intruder broke in. 2 gunshots were heard coming from the house, and an intruder fled, leaving a bloody trail all the way to the Mississippi River. The next morning, the body of a dead river pirate was found along the mighty Mississippi River banks. For many years, mysterious lights have been seen at night, moving throughout the mansion's dark hallways and staircases. Some speculate that it is the lamplight of the intruding pirate. Others say it is the ghost of Matthias Ham, still trying to find his daughter to get revenge, as he was killed by her in a bizarre accident one evening long ago. Employees of the Dubuque County Historical Society have reported unexplained noises, footsteps, voices, lights, and icy cold air. They also describe the feeling of ill at ease in certain parts of the mansion.
Year career at Loris in the Center for Dubuque History, the archives there, and was the director of that center. And that's probably how I became infamously known as the guru or Dr. Dubuque. Dubuque history in terms of ghost stories, and there's been some fairly widely publicized stories about hauntings, haunted houses, or murders, suspicious murders, and so forth in Dubuque over the years. And favorite story is one that relates to my 37-year career history at the college in the archives, and that is, I had a call from a gentleman one day who asked me on the telephone if I knew when lightning struck the Julian Dubuque Bridge. And I stopped and I thought for a moment, and then I tried to proceed with questioning him further about if he knew what year approximately this would have been, or what time of the month it might have, what month or what season of the year it might have been, or anything. So I was probing him for more questions, and he remained silent on the other end of the phone. And so I remained silent then, and all of a sudden he says, "Mr. Gibson," he says, I find this hard to believe. He said, "I'm just flabbergasted." And I said, "Flabbergasted about what?" And he said, "Well, I was told you know everything there is about Dubuque's history."
Well, we've had discussions from some of the oldest buildings and some of the really well-known ghosts, but we're going to finish up with Julian Dubuque's grave on the bluffs of Dubuque over the Mississippi River. And that is a short synopsis of the different haunted spirits in the city of Dubuque that have been discussed and known for many years.